here's what Wind and Wave will be about, as they say here, as you can see. Wind and Wave will have 18 total challenges based on each type of Pokemon, and they will be based on the sustainable development goals, and when you complete them all, you can then face the champion. Some of these goals include quality education, zero hunger, climate.
Bro, what is going on? Like, oh my god. Oh my god, bro. Alright, chat, we're watching another video about this Pokemon stuff. Supposedly this has leaks about the DEI stuff and the next Gen 10 stuff, so we're gonna watch this, see what's coming in Gen 10. I hope it's good, man. So make sure you guys come and like, subscribe to the original content, and then let's get into it. We'll react to this. Make sure you guys also subscribe to this channel. Once we start hitting some milestones here on the channel, we'll be doing some big giveaways, so make sure you guys are part of that. Alright, here we go.
A new Pokemon game is coming upon the world, and it looks decent, which in years past I would usually buy the next Nintendo console as soon as a new Pokemon game would get announced. That's how I used to do it anyway. I've owned every handheld console Nintendo has made for that very reason alone, cause I loved Pokemon. But after Sword and Shield, my love in this series finally wavered, and then Scarlet and Violet officially became the first Pokemon games I never actually completed for the first time in my entire life. Finally, after years of playing this series since
I would say that's similar to my experience as well. I didn't finish Scarlet. Sword and Shield was meh, and I actually didn't really like Sun and Moon either. I loved Arceus though.
day one, I'd fallen out of love with Pokemon, so what gives? Well, it looks like the reason is pretty similar to what's been going on with a lot of series I loved in the past as well. They've all been mutated and malformed into something that they weren't before by things that have proven to be toxic to entertainment. Of course, that brings me to things like DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, words anyone in the video game space who's in tune with it knows what I'm talking about. DEI has been a catastrophic inclusion when it comes to video games aplenty.
That ain't no
It's a
joke.
globalist mandate system that entices companies and more with millions of dollars in investments, with the catch being that they are required to push what these agendas require.
Dude, this stuff has like killed everything we love. Star Wars, Marvel, Pokemon, a bunch of other game franchises. Like, when is this stuff gonna stop?
If they want their bags of money. Why have female characters gotten uglier in games? Why are body types even a thing? Why are games that used to be edgy suddenly completely lacking of all bite? It's likely all DEI and then some. It's ruined the writing space of video games especially. It's a big reason why Sweet Baby Inc. exists in the first place, which I don't think I need to explain who they are to you either. But when it comes to Nintendo, they've been crippled by DEI, but because Nintendo is so big and has such strong franchises, they are still able to make billions regardless due to brand recognition alone. This brings me to Pokémon Legends Z A, and of course the leaks that have happened at Nintendo, so in case you don't know.
We all know why this DEI stuff happens. We all see the on X, the people making posts about it, like the female creators are joining the space. It's not like the cool gamer chicks that are doing this stuff. It's like the Karens, the weird, you know what I'm talking about, kind of women who go into the space, and a bunch of nerdy dudes who never like had a girlfriend going into the space, and all of them trying to tweak the world into making them fit into it more, or tweaking the world into what they enjoy more, instead of what the actual gamers want. We all know what's going on.
Nintendo got hacked recently. A lot of data has been leaking out of that hack for days now. One of the hardest hit parts of Nintendo has been Game Freak, the company that makes Pokemon games, of course. We now know every single Pokemon game coming out between now to about 2030. We know that the next mainline Pokemon game will be called Wind and Wave as well, and it will have Wind Waker style ocean exploration both above and below water. And if you're anything like me, you've likely grown tired of Pokemon games specifically because Nintendo tends to phone it in more.
That might be a good concept though. That might be nice.
Often than not these days. There's really no point in telling people to boycott Nintendo or Pokemon because it's impossible. Not that I'm telling you to boycott it, but let's be real, the brand is way too strong anyways. Pokemon, in case you also don't know, is the single largest, most profitable IP in the entire world too. As seen here from visualcapitalist.com in their updated rankings, Pokemon sits at number 1 with a value of $147 billion, which is absolutely insane. What's even crazier is the drop off from first place to just second, because in second place is seen here as Hello Kitty of all things, sitting at 89 billion. And then Winnie the Pooh somehow is worth 76 billion, which I didn't even know it was that popular, to be real with you. But when the
Winnie the Pooh, who's buying Winnie the Pooh stuff? Is that popular with people? I've never even seen Winnie the Pooh since like the last movie that we had in, like, I don't know, was it like 5 or 6 years ago? That one with Obi-Wan Kenobi in it. That's the last time I saw anything Winnie the Pooh related.
First place Pokemon is worth almost double what third place's Winnie the Pooh is worth. Yeah, Pokemon is very, very profitable. To really drive that point home too, Pokemon is actually worth more IP-wise than Batman, Spider-Man, the entire Dragon Ball franchise, and Harry Potter combined. Yeah, nuts. I know. By the way, those 4 franchises...
Just hearing that enrages me, because this is the slop we get from something like that. It's like, they don't deserve that, man. And I don't want to be that person who's like, you don't deserve whatever you have. It's like, dude, they just...
franchises I just mentioned in total are worth just $116 billion. So you could actually even throw in the Gundam franchise, which is another $27 billion, and then that's probably closer to what Pokemon is worth alone, actually. Anyway,
Gundam is
like
sweet.
I was saying, Pokemon is worth a lot of money, which is why it's frustrating that the quality of its products these past 10 years and then some have been anything but. If you were born in the 90s like me and very early 2000s, you likely played the Pokemon games during the era known as the Masuda era. You see, Junichi Matsuda, who I keep saying Masuda, but it's Masuda because my tongue keeps doing that. But anyways, this is the guy on screen here, has been responsible for many games you've likely loved and played yourselves. But during that massive data breach at Nintendo, we found out that the Matsuda era was actually banned from making Pokemon games entirely, and I wish that I was kidding. As seen here from The Gamer of all places, Matsuda was confirmed to be banned from making Pokemon games via documents that were found in this leak. And if you enjoy the content and want more non-BS reporting on games, consider liking the video, subscribing, leaving a comment. Thank you. But according to those leaks, Matsuda was removed from headlining the Pokemon franchise during the development of Pokemon X and Y. The account...
So this guy's making killer games that we all like, the OG ones, apparently. I guess he'll show which ones he's been making. But he's been making killer games and they just cut him off? Does that even make sense as a company?
that shared this information via the leak was this Twitter profile on screen here called Central Leaks, so all credit to them. According to those leaks, Junichi Matsuda ran the Pokemon franchise with an iron fist. It was detailed in the leaks that Matsuda alone controlled the personal decisions of the Pokemon franchise, the public relations, the game design, and the entire development and planning of the series too. In case you don't know which games Matsuda worked on, this handy dandy picture should probably help you out. As seen here,
dude, that's fire. I loved Ruby and Sapphire. I love those ones. Diamond and Pearl were great too. Black and White also. And I really liked X and Y, but I've been noticing a lot of people really are kind of iffy on X and Y. It's like kind of like, I'd say like 65 positive and like the rest are negative.
Matsuda directed Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Diamond, Pearl, Black and White, and finally X and Y. All games that push the franchise forward in meaningful ways, and they're all pretty much fan favorites besides maybe X and Y since he did get taken off their mid-development, but generally speaking, every Pokemon game that Matsuda directed was, let's be real, kind of peak. I mean, Black and White alone are probably my favorite generation outside of Red and Blue easily. I've replayed Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald way too many times already, and I think in Diamond alone, that's the one I played the most. I have like over 700 hours in Diamond, which was absurd, but hey, I love that game.
I'd probably have to rank them like yellow version is my number one ever, then red and blue, then gold and silver, then probably, it's tough, the next one would be tough. Maybe Diamond and Pearl, then Ruby, Sapphire, and then Black and White maybe. Maybe that would be my ranking. It's tough though. The last three are really tough. Black, White, Pearl, and Diamond, Pearl, and Ruby and Sapphire. It's really hard to rank those ones, but for sure, yellow, red, blue, gold, silver. Maybe even Ruby, maybe actually the way it came out. To be honest, the yellow, red and blue, Sapphire, Ruby, Sapphire, Diamond, Pearl, Black and White. Maybe in that order, but they're all great. They're all great.
A lot. So obviously, as someone who loved Pokemon, Matsuda was pretty much the GOAT at the time. But according to these leaks again, around the Black and White era of games, Matsuda had so much power that nobody could reasonably oppose him in the company. And it quickly led to a fever point where the power of Matsuda began to spiral out of control. He would fire people that he deemed unnecessary, and would keep his favorite employees that enacted his will down the food chain instead. This eventually led the game development to no longer be be about fun, but about the ego of Matsuda himself, if you will. Proper game design couldn't really be done according to these leaks, and this all led to the pivotal moment that would change Pokemon's trajectory forever. Because in those leaks, it details that Matsuda got into a heated argument with the father of Pokemon himself, Ken Sugimori. In case you somehow don't know who Ken Sugimori is, he's the original art director and designer of all the original 151 Pokemon. This is him on screen, by the way. He oversaw and created and fine-tuned every Pokemon you all know and love. Pikachu, Charizard, Mewtwo, it's all under Ken Sugimori. That iconic Pokemon look and designs, for example, is seen here with Red and Blue's cover art. Yeah, that's Ken Sugimori's art style. So like I said, the guy has power within the Pokemon company, because without him, let's be honest, the franchise would simply just not exist as it did now. But anyways, like I was saying, Junichi Matsuda got into an argument with Ken Sugimori. It's not detailed in the leaks what the argument was exactly about, but if I had to guess, it was obviously about the direction of Pokemon as a franchise and the game development side becoming increasingly harder to deal with as Matsuda.
So this is an ego thing. So we're getting shitty games because egos clashed. Sweet.
As ego began to inflate to Galactus levels. This eventually led to an implosion at Game Freak, where Ken Sugimori used his executive power as the father of Pokemon and pretty much declared across the company that Junichi Matsuda would never direct another Pokemon game ever again for opposing him, mainline anyways. So after the fallout of Titans, I guess, Shigeru Omori would then become the next big director of the future Pokemon games. Here's an image of Shigeru Omori on screen with Matsuda standing behind him, and this is kind of important too, because Central Leaks went further into the leaked documents and discovered that not much actually changed in terms of game development following Omori taking over after Matsuda was removed by Ken Sugimori. So all the more recent games from Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, Violet and Scarlet, these were all directed by Omori. And if you're like me, these are
That's crazy, because that's when I noticed the fault. Like, that's where my drop started. I didn't like Sun and Moon. I didn't like the whole like island thing and the whole trials. I didn't finish Sun and Moon. I played Sword and Shield. I thought it was mid. I thought it was okay, but it could have been a lot better. I wasn't too impressed, but I wasn't too rageful about it. Arceus, great, and then Scarlet and Violet just utter just garbage, and then the ZA is just garbage.
Arguably some of the worst and weakest installments in the franchise, both Pokemon design-wise and when it comes to innovation too. Because there basically wasn't much of any innovation, I guess, besides Mega Evolutions and the more recent tacked-on thing of having open world in Scarlet and Violet, which was, let's be honest, a mixed bag because the open world ran like literal garbage on the original Switch, and like I said...
Yeah, I wouldn't call it even open world too. It was like... it was like freaking... big maps, and everything was like placed there and NPC like. It wasn't like it was like a grand landscape where you saw Pokemon running and living in the wild like naturally. It was like, oh, you go here and you're gonna see one guy doing a path, like an NPC path. It's like, yeah, it was a big open map, but it didn't have the open world feel, you know. It's like you didn't go there and you're like, oh, you saw, you know, different Pokemon every time. It's just like you knew where to go. They were like just path back and forth. If you walked in front of them, they didn't like... wasn't great.
Violet just broke me, and I have not played Pokemon since because I was left so disappointed by how bad it was. However, Central Leaks looked further into the documents and discovered that Omori, who directed the bad Pokemon games, in my opinion anyways, has since also been outed in recent years as he started to become Matsuda's puppet pretty much in terms of power, because nothing actually changed on the game development side under Omori's direction. He was still aligned with Masuda, allegedly according to the documents anyways, and Omori's games were clearly not nearly as good as, say, Black and White or Ruby and Sapphire. I think we can all agree on that one. Anyway, Omori got ousted, like I said, because the leaks claimed if Omori kept leading Game Freak's Pokemon direction, which was under the company name Division 2, it would then lead to an organization that would spiral out of control and unravel itself due to internal fighting and bad blood, which is kind of sad to see. But the documents then claimed that in 2024, Omori was officially relieved of his duties. I don't know if he was fired or anything because Matsuda still worked at Game Freak regardless.
This is a side question for you guys. Did you guys like the Gigantamax? Was that a theme you guys liked? At first, I was kind of like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life, but it kind of grew on me a little bit. I wonder in the comments, like, let me know what you guys think.
even though Ken Sugimori removed him as a director of the whole franchise pretty much. But in case you don't know, Matsuda would still direct other games like Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee and the Diamond and Pearl remakes that were also done by Matsuda. But that Diamond and Pearl remake especially was considered a massive blunder and also hurt Game Freak's reputation big time, which doesn't really surprise me. But like I said, quality isn't really important to Pokemon fans because the Diamond and Pearl remake still sold a combined 15 million units regardless, despite being the lowest quality
I bought one. I was part of the problem. It was me.
remakes the series has seen ever yet anyways. But by the way, the original Diamond and Pearl, that sold almost 18 million units. So the fact that the remake sold just shy of that while being a lazy remake proves that Pokemon fans will quite literally buy any slop that they're given these days. I think this user's comment on Central leaks is, leaks of everything else, I guess, that Matsuda got removed. It kind of tells it how it is, but this is what they said. Yo, this guy is designing the best games ever. Let's ban him and make slop. I mean, yeah, pretty much, that's pretty much what happened, sadly. I mean, Sugimori got mad at Matsuda, and then it then led to arguably some of the worst Pokemon games we've ever seen, and a big reason why I've walked away myself. Sword and Shield, for example, was just egregiously mid. They barely did anything to push the formula forward at all, and it became extra.
Yeah, I agree. It was like really mid, not enough to be rageful, but honestly, like even if they pushed him out, right? They pushed out the guy who made great Pokemon. I don't feel like it's that hard to make a good Pokemon game. Like honestly, like yeah, even if they pushed him out because of greed, of egos, whatever the reason is, they pushed him out. I just don't think it's that hard to take this IP and do something magical with it. I just think it's so like it's like so easy. It's right there. I just don't understand like the people who are making it. It's just I just can't imagine how they're this bad. It's like you actively have to be bad. It's like if you played the games, if you had any passion and love for this franchise, you should be able to make a game. Like I've had so many Pokemon like games in my head that I wish would come out. I literally once, when I was thinking about making a YouTube channel, was gonna make my own script for a prehistoric dinosaur, like a time jump in the Pokemon game, and then I hear that they almost made that. That would have been awesome. I guess it was supposed to be instead of Sword and Shield or something like that. I saw somebody tweet that. Like that would have been awesome. I've had an idea where you take all the regions and you just combine them together, and instead of like the world, you got to be like the world champion, so you get your badges for every one of them, and then at the very end there's like a major tournament to see who like the world champion is. Like why can't we have stuff like that? It'd just be so easy.
Frustrating, considering when games like Sword and Shield got released, Nintendo was revitalizing, reimagining other core franchises in really big ways, like The Legend of Zelda with Breath of the Wild, or Fire Emblem when they made Three Houses, which was another excellent game that I loved a lot. Yet when it came to Pokemon, the biggest IP they have, the company just didn't do anything interesting whatsoever with it. It just became a content mill. They just churned out game after game with barely any improvements pretty much, because the sales of these games still raked in billions no matter what. And if you know every Pokemon game regardless is going to sell like absolute hotcakes, I mean, why bother doing anything, I guess, differently? It does suck, but it is what it is. When you look at Matsuda's track record here on screen, minus Diamond and Pearl remakes, which were objectively just lazy, every other game that he has done has objectively been great. The dude even did Fire Red and Leaf Green, which were goated games.
I love Fire Red and Leaf Green. Like, I forgot to mention those earlier. Those are like in another class, to be honest. It's like the ranking I did earlier in the video. This like Fire Red and Leaf Green were just like so special to me. Like it was just like it's just great memories playing that game. Like the age I was at, the time of my life that I was going through, like just a great game, dude. And it brought back nostalgia hard because I loved Yellow. And it was just so innovative at the time. It looked so much better, like the graphics wise, and it was just so good back then.
Games, dude. I loved Fire Red. Oh, what a great game. All the family road trips I took on as a kid, yeah, Fire Red was really great company, let me tell you. God, I really did love Pokemon games back then. However, when it comes to the latest game, Pokémon Legends Z A, this is actually the first Pokemon game in a long time not directed by any of these previous directors. Legends Z A is being directed by Haruka Toshigi. According to Bulbapedia, Haruka, if you go look at his credentials at Game Freak as seen on screen here, he's been working at Game Freak for a really long time. He worked on Omega Ruby, Alpha Alpha Sapphire, Sun, Moon, Let's Go, Arceus, and more, and now Legends Z A is the first game that he's officially directing. I won't lie, Legends Z A doesn't look like a bad game. I don't know if it's good enough for me to buy a Nintendo Switch 2 to review it outright, which I haven't done myself yet. I guess let me know in the comments if you want me to review Legends Z A, but it's at least nice to see someone who isn't hopefully free of all the corporate nonsense of the other directors being able to make a fully new Pokemon game. Sadly, in the leaks too, we found out that originally Generation 8 was also meant to be prehistoric themed and have dinosaurs as the
Awesome. He's talking about, I just brought that up. Awesome. We're going to hear it. Like, dude, this would have been an awesome theme. Like, my little mind came up with something. I would imagine what they would just do better. And I'm so angry that they didn't do this. We got Sword and Shield instead. I'm so angry, dude.
main creative force behind the Pokemon there. It was going to originally be called Pokemon King and Queen, with the King legendary being Fighting and Dragon, and the Queen being Psychic and Dragon type instead. Ultra Beasts were also going to be their own subsection of Pokemon as well, and there was originally going to be one Titan Pokemon per type across the entire game, plus an additional what they call Kaiser or Emperor Pokemon too. But all of this didn't happen, and instead you got Pokemon Sword and Shield over a prehistoric Pokemon game. Yeah, I hate this timeline, guys. We got robbed.
Dude, that would have been so awesome. That would have been just so cool. Could you imagine playing Pokemon and there's like a Triceratops, a freaking Raptor Pokemon? Oh man, like we did get a T-Rex in X and Y, right? But like more T-Rexes, like oh.
Is what I'm saying. The other names for Sword and Shield, by the way, besides King and Queen, they were also going to potentially be called Cosmo and Galaxy, Order and Change. And this last one, which is pretty bizarre, but Femininity and Masculinity. Yeah, that's real, by the way. It doesn't really roll off the tongue, which is probably why they didn't go with it, and that's probably a good idea. But still, banning Matsuda for making peak Pokemon games is still insane. Maybe the ethics behind the scenes was getting worse. I don't know 100%, but the banning of Matsuda is like if Hidetaka Miyazaki was banned from making Soulsborne games. Or if Hideo Kojima was banned from making Metal Gear Solid games. Oh wait, that did happen, and they haven't done much of anything with the Metal Gear IP since. Besides one remake which doesn't run very well, and that terrible Metal Gear Survive game that demands money so you can have more save slots, which I'm not kidding, by the way, go look that up, it's real. But this then circles me back to the DEI slop. It turns out that the next Pokemon mainline game, Wind and Wave, and I'll just read you what Central League said, because you will probably think I am lying if I said this out loud without them there to back me up, but here's what Wind and Wave will be about, as they say here, as you can see. Wind and Wave will have 18 total challenges based on each type of Pokemon, and they will be based on the sustainable development goals, and when you complete them all, you can then face the champion. Some of these goals include quality education, zero hunger, climate.
Why are they doing this? Why is this in my Pokemon game? Like, oh my god, bro. Oh my god. Bro, why? No poverty. What the what does that have to do with anything in Pokemon? I literally battle you to steal your money. I literally take your money when I kill you. Zero hunger, no Snorlax. Good health and well-being? Okay, I guess that's Nurse Joy. Quality education, what does that have to do with anything? Gender equality? Screw that. Clean water? Okay, I want to catch a Magikarp, so I guess that's cool. I can't see that yellow, dude. Am I blind? Affordable? Is that what that says? Affordable and clean energy? God, that white and that yellow is not good on my eyes, dude. Affordable and a clean energy? What does that have to do with this? Decent work and economic growth? How does this relate to Pokemon? Industry innovation and infrastructure? Reduces inequalities? This is a Pokemon game. This is Pokemon. Life on water and land? Okay, cool. That's Pokemon related. Peace, justice, and strong institutions. Climate change. What is this?
Action, no poverty, and the funniest one being gender equality. Yes, this is real, and it's so stupid. I don't think I could make up a joke this funny if I did.
So these are this is the moral of, like, this is the blueprints of what they're trying to build the next game on. Dude, Gen 10 is like my last chance in this franchise. Please don't do this to me. Please don't do this to me. I
Try, but that's right. It'll mean that you'll have to face poverty, things like climate change, and even sexism in the next mainline Pokemon game in order to beat the champion and beat that game, I guess, which is crazy, but yep, that's real. Now, we don't know which type of Pokemon like fire or water, etc. will be tied to each of these goals, I guess, yet, but it's really weird that Game Freak is taking essentially globalist ideal propaganda talking points and then turning them into core game objectives within their next mainline Pokemon game. If this doesn't tell you that DEI is going to be in Pokemon for the
Dude, this is so terrible. I have a hair in my mouth because of it.
future, I really don't know what else to tell you, to be honest. I decided to straight up ask Google about this. So while not the SDG or Sustainable Development Goals are not a direct acronym, obviously, they are still connected. But this is what Google's AI said about it as it reads here in the highlighted text. DEI principles are a core component of the SDGs overall mission. The SDGs are a global framework for sustainable development, while DEI refers to specific values and practices that support achieving these goals by emphasizing fair treatment, equal opportunity, and inclusion for all people. And it continues. DEI is a foundational principle, the overarching principle of
You know, it's funny. Pokemon has always been inclusive to everybody. When I was younger, you had girls, you had little girls, little boys, you had older people, you had, you know, men, women playing it, you had men collecting it early on in the franchise. You know, they're buying the booster boxes, the TCG. The TCG was wild. Everybody was playing it. Pokemon Go, literally everybody played it in my college town. Like I remember the most diverse amount of people. You had like white, black, Asians all playing it. You had young people playing it, boys and girls. One of the hottest chicks in the town I saw playing it. Like you got uggos, you got beautiful people playing it, you got old people, you got fat people, you got skinny people playing it. It's like everybody was playing Pokemon Go. That's inclusion. What more? Why?
leaving no one behind in the SDGs is inherently about diversity, equity, and inclusion. So yes, these principles that are going to be the basis of the problems, if you will, I guess that players will have to fix in Pokemon Wind and Wave, will 100% be actual talking points and mission objectives of actual DEI companies in real life, which is absolutely crazy that I'm saying that out loud and that it's not fake. But I mean, as pointed out by others as well as seen here, they're also going to allow male characters to wear skirts and makeup too. And Nurse Joy is now black apparently in Legends Z A, so it's obvious where Nintendo is going with all of this. They're becoming a globalist.
Pokemon Legends Z has delivered an introduction of Black Nurse Joy, but also allows males and characters to wear skirts, and Nintendo went full DEI with this game one. So you could do this in ZA right now. You could do this in ZA right now.
Led company pretty much. Now, I'm not saying having black characters in a game is bad, of course. I don't care if Pokemon does that. They've done it well before too, and it's been fine, but it's obvious where they're going with all of this. I mean, Pokemon Go also removed the body shapes of characters too, but it's quite crazy, at least according to these leaks that Central posted, that they're flat out making the sustainable.
It's not even the race, dude. It's Nurse Joy is the lore. It's like, isn't it supposed to be Nurse Joy in every one of them? Like, they're all supposed to be cousins. They're all supposed to be the same looking person. They're all twins or something. They all look like. We literally have had colored people in the game already. Like, it's and then like Go from the new series that was on Netflix. He's like brown. So like, it's like he said, it's not about like colors. It's about you just forcing it on people. Like, why are you changing Nurse Joy? I just don't understand that.
Goals of DEI a core mechanic of their games in the future. It kind of proves that Pokemon and Nintendo are 100% in on all of that sort of stuff, which doesn't really surprise me. It's not like it'll affect their sales anyways. Because let's be real, Nintendo could release a PNG file of Pikachu and people would still buy it too. So Pokemon will still do gangbusters due to brand recognition alone. It's more so just eye-roll worthy that they're pushing this sort of stuff so hard anyways. It's not like Game Freak and...
I think, no, it's more than eye-rolling. I think, like... Haven't you heard conservatives after Taylor Swift drama? They said, I'm never going to take my daughter to a Taylor Swift thing, or I'm not going to buy Taylor Swift stuff. And now her next album is the most like criticized album she's ever made. She's getting like the most crap ever. So I think there's a breaking point for people. And I think if you are like somebody who's super religious, super anti DEI, just tired of all the BS, and maybe a conservative, you're probably gonna see this game and you're gonna see a man wearing a skirt and just be like, I'm not letting my kids play this. I'm not letting my kids get indoctrinated, or I'm not gonna let them be groomed, or I'm not gonna let them do this. Whatever the reason they come up with, they're not gonna. We'll see what happens, dude. But I think this is gonna be big. If this is, uh, I don't know.
Nintendo are hiding it. As seen here, they have a whole dedicated section to DEI on their website still. They have entire sections within this, like the Black Diaspora, which reads as follows here. We are the Pokemon Black Diaspora Employee Resource Group. Our aim is to aid the creation of an inclusive company culture by providing a supportive and uplifting community for Black employees throughout the Pokemon Company International. We'll achieve this through education, community development, recruitment, and engagement with folks inside and outside the office. We want to create a place where every Black employee has a space where they can collaborate, relax, and empower each other through their daily lives, Black excellence, and Black representation. That's real, by the way. They also got as seen here the Rainbow Gym and Women of Pokemon 2, so the whole young boys being able to wear skirts and makeup thing, it really doesn't surprise me. And besides that, Pokemon in general is still behind the times. I mean, even still, the main games don't have voice acting, which is still very bizarre. One YouTuber was surprised by this, named Nintendo Prime. Here's what they said. I discovered over the last 24 hours that so many people want voice acting in Pokemon. I don't disagree with you. I enjoy voice acting in games. Didn't realize the desire for Pokemon to have it was this strong. Why? I mean, it's simple, because voice acting brings games to life more often than not. You already got Pokemon, making sound effects. Pikachu back in the day in games had the voice actor line where they would say Pikachu out loud too, because it brought the game to life. Pokemon makes billions of dollars. It'd be a drop in the bucket budget-wise to add voice acting. They don't do it simply because it's cheaper. Central Leaks also leaked the budget of Legends Z A. Allegedly, it didn't even cost them $13 million to make the whole game, which in today's industry, that is literal peanuts to make a AAA game, by the way. Most AAA games are released somewhere near, I don't know, 50 to 100 million.
I heard it's like they need like 200,000 copies to break even or something ridiculous like that. But all this DEI stuff, like it is kind of racist, no? Isn't that a little like the definition of racism? Like saying, hey, we're gonna hire you based on the way you look, or like we're trying to increase the amount of you are in our group. Isn't that like, shouldn't you just hire whoever's the best people, no matter if it's a male, female, Black, white, Asian, whatever? Like, shouldn't you just hire the best quality people? Like, should you not be like actively seeking like colored, white, male, female, and be like, we want to recruit you just because of the way you look? Like, isn't that like the definition of like a racist kind of thing? And the fact that this game was like so cheap to make is just wild.
Dollars in budget, bare minimum mostly. Call of Duty, for example, spends like $400 million plus per game on average to make. That means that Activision could make like a dozen Pokemon games and then some for the cost of one Call of Duty game. And yet Legends Z A is priced in such a way that it will make its budget back immediately. For example, in Canada, where I live, as seen here via Amazon, the Switch 1 version of Legends Z A is $85 before taxes. The Switch 2 version is $100 before taxes. No idea why the Switch 2 version costs that much more, but there you go. But either way, with the power of math on our side, this means, before taxes obviously, but roughly that Nintendo needs to sell just 130,000 copies of Legends Z A to cover its budget on the game alone. Which, let's be real, it's Pokemon. They're going to make that budget back instantly, so the rest of the game's sales will just be millions in all profit for them anyways. Now,
That's wild. And you saw in that review thing, it said 1,000 were bought. So 1,000 at $80, it's already pretty big change for them right there.
Saying that Legends Z A looks bad? No, I'm not. I think it looks fine. At least they're evolving the formula somewhat, so credit where it's due. But I think companies could learn from Nintendo that maybe they should make cheaper games in the future, because it's absolutely insane that Call of Duty costs something like 30 times and then some the budget of a Pokemon game these days to make, which is actually kind of crazy. But overall, though, it's become very clear why Pokemon has kind of faltered in terms of quality based on these leaks alone. Matsuda got...
So it only took that much to make this. They could have put a little more to make freaking real windows and balconies. I hate that. I hate it.
ousted, Omori made objectively worse games, but hopefully this new guy Haruka that's doing Legends Z A can just turn it all around. I don't know if this will be enough for me to buy the game yet myself. I do own a Switch from 2017 still, but I don't own the Switch 2 yet myself. But I still don't think this is really enough for me to delve into this game particularly to review it myself, but I guess I'll just ask you guys. You guys can decide for me here. Should I review ZA? I guess I'll let the comments decide. Do you want me to scour through Legends ZA and look for all the nonsense? Let me know in the comments below. But what do you think about the trajectory of Pokemon as a franchise? It kind of makes sense why they hate Palworld so much given what they've been making and how Palworld kind of exposed them for making objectively less ambitious games. I mean, for God's sakes, this is what Pokemon used to do back in the day with no voice acting. Like, watch this clip. It's so cringe, but please watch.
All right, that's a good take. Can you do another one? Can you do one more? Give it a little more. Okay, boss.
But look, whether people hate the DEI, it's not really going to stop with Pokemon. It's just too strong of an IP. But with the leaks, it's proving that Pokemon is in some weird turmoil body of ideologies behind the scenes. And they really did come close to imploding a couple of times already. But wild that we got all of this info, but let me know what you all think. Thanks for watching, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. And Nidoking is still the best Pokemon, by the way. Okay, bye.
All right, guys. So that's it. What do you think? What do you guys think? I'm actually pretty shocked. I didn't know about, I know DI's everywhere these days. I know it's like all this stuff's happening all the time. But I didn't even know you could do a skirt in the game. I didn't know that. And if, like I said, Gen 10 is going to be my last attempt at the Pokemon game. The last time I play a Pokemon game, if it's bad. So I did not buy ZA. I will not be buying ZA. I don't care, even if it goes on sale for $20. I will not buy ZA. I will buy a Switch 2, maybe over the Christmas sales and everything, if it's cheap. But $400, $500 is ridiculous for that. It's not worth it. Don't buy it for that. It's 100% just a scam. It's the same console with just a little better power. $500? No, stop it. And the games are $20 more or something. Just stop. So Gen 10 is where it ends for me. I want to know in the comments below what you guys are thinking. And are you, if you're playing ZA, are you wearing a skirt? If you're a dude, are you wearing a skirt? All right, guys, make sure you guys like and subscribe for more reactions, more game news, drama, video game stuff. We stream on Twitch. And once this channel starts getting the milestones for revenues and stuff, we're going to start doing members giveaways. So if you become a member, I'll be doing new releases and stuff. So let's just pretend Pokemon was good. I probably would have tried to do a Switch giveaway with a copy of the game and maybe a couple copies of somebody else, depending on how strong the channel's going. My goal is to one day give out a PC. That'd be the best if I could help somebody out get a PC who can't afford it. So big things to come, hopefully. I appreciate everybody here. See you for the next one.